Hey everybody, my name is Mike Montgomery, and so is mine. And today, we're back with another episode of DIY versus Buy. And this time, it's the Swiveling Outdoor Chair Edition on Modern Builds. Perfect. The inspiration for today's build comes from the West Elm Telluride line of outdoor furniture. As you can see, these chairs run $1,500 for a non-swivel base and $2,000 for a chair that swivels. I'm gonna show you how to build it both ways, and we're gonna save a lot of money. You may think step one is cutting our boards, but it's not. I took the time to plane down all of the 2x material for this project. I want a really high quality finish, and this is gonna achieve that. Both faces come out super flat, and we remove the rounded corner. And that's just by nature a little more modern and contemporary. But now we can cut. In the description below, I'll leave a link to my website where you can download some free PDF plans for this build, which will include a basic cut list and some diagrams. My chairs are gonna be built with a 26" by 26" base cushion in mind. And as I'm breaking down these boards with my circular saw, I'm using my speed square to make sure I get 90-degree cuts. I'm also batching out all of the pieces for 2 chairs, so basically I'm doing everything double. And as I went, I tried to avoid the split ends. And the final pieces of 2x10s that I'm cutting are the 26" base apron pieces, and these need to be the same width as whatever cushions you're using. So for you, it might be a little bit different. In total, I cut 8 of these boards, but if you're just building one chair, you only need 4. Now I think that's every single 2x10 cut to length, but I do have a couple more cuts to make. First, I need 2 26" pieces out of a 2x8, then I need 2 more 26" pieces out of a 2x6. And that is all of our basic cuts complete. There's a little bit of variance between my 2x10s. Of course, they're all supposed to be 9.5 inches wide, but my boards vary, and the smallest of them all were 9.25 inch wide. So that's what I'm setting my table saw fence to, and it's a good opportunity to clean up some of these edges. And this is where I should note the cut list on the plans account for a 9.25 inch wide board and planed down 2x material that's 1.25 inches thick instead of 1.5 inches. If you don't have a planer or table saw, just make sure to adjust your cut list. This drill bit came out of my pocket hole jig, and I really like it because I can drill for recessed screws anywhere I want to do butt joint connections. And for a few boards on this project, I will be using my pocket hole joiner, just to make assembly a little bit easier. And now, let's assemble our 2 sides of each chair. The first piece here is our top armrest. Here's the front and here's the back. This piece is the front leg, and you're just gonna see the edge here from the side. But on the back of this assembly, we're gonna be attaching this board face down. This is cool because people will see a really thin profile on the front of this assembly and a really wide beam shape on the back. It's a nice combination of thin and chunky for this heavy-duty modern look. And throughout this project, I'm using 2.5 inch screws. And now that we've got our frame made, you can see the shape we're trying to make. But first, we're gonna double check. Oh wow, this thing is almost perfect. We're gonna keep building on this side assembly so it looks more beefy. I'm using recessed screws to attach these pieces also, and later we'll backfill them with dowels. And these 2 pieces are also the same length, but I'll need to rip this to width on my table saw to be flush with the edge of my armrests and all the other boards. Oh, that's perfect. I used clamps to get my first screws in on boards without them wiggling around all the time. This made my joints cleaner and gave me a lot less sanding to do to get everything flush later. And in this shot, we're building out that back beam that I mentioned toward the beginning of the video. I needed to mark and cut this last piece to fit, and then I was able to screw it in place. Perfect. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but on these side assemblies, I used glue anytime I screwed boards together. Now, we've officially got one of our side assemblies assembled, and this thing is heavy duty. Once this glue dries, it will be rock solid. And on these next 3 assemblies, I'm not gonna do too much filming, but I'll make sure you guys get a good idea of the process that I'm doing. One thing that I need to keep in mind though, is that for each side assembly of a chair, they need to be mirror images of each other. If I were to assemble all 4 the exact same way, they would not go together the way that I want. And that's all 4 complete. Now I need to pick which side assemblies go together. I'm gonna pick my 2 nicest sides so that I can make one beautiful show chair. I've just gotta make sure that I'm using 2 mirror image side assemblies. And then the front and back will connect these side assemblies together. This should end up looking really awesome. Let's get these boards prepped. These base or apron pieces are gonna connect with 2x4 plates on the back. These will be attached with a lot of screws, and I made sure to pre-drill holes before marking lines an inch down from the top of our apron piece, the same thickness as the 1x4 slats we'll be installing later. On the bottom, I utilized some scraps, making some smaller plates. Now it's time to put this together, and you're gonna see how it all works. I clamped these pieces together square, then I screwed through those back plates, and these make the front of our assemblies and the apron flush. And FYI, I did not use any glue whenever I was screwing the base pieces to the side assemblies. That way I can take these apart if I ever want. The back base piece goes on the same as the front, so once you've seen that, you know what we're doing. Let's go. Next, we'll have another 2x10 that goes here in the back, and that'll finish our cushion trap. But first, we need to put in the slats the cushions will rest on. After I cut these boards to length, I used this drilling template that I've used for quite a few projects for pre-drilling holes where I'm gonna be screwing these boards in. And I got these boards from the decking section at Home Depot, so these are a true 1x4. They're an inch thick and 4 inch wide, instead of 3/4 inch by 3.5. Quick sturdiness check. That feels good. And I like this tiny bit of bounce that we've got in the slats. Should give a little bit of spring to the cushions. The back piece was a very snug fit. Once it was flush with the back of the chair, I screwed it down. After that, I took what's gonna be the top of the back of the chair, and I put some pocket holes on the bottom so that these won't ever be seen. To make assembly a little bit easier, I used some 2x4 scraps as blocking so that I could clamp these pieces in place. And as you guessed, I did not use any glue on this board. This chair was just wide enough that I needed to double up my bar clamps to squeeze the top of this chair together before throwing in my screws. After that, I installed my 26-inch long 2x8 that we cut earlier with all of our 2x10 pieces. And once again, I used no glue on this board because it'll have to come off to be able to remove the pocket screws on the top piece. And finally, I installed the 26-inch long 2x6 using 2x4 risers. We've kind of got a throne here. Very nice. King of Castle. 4 out approved. And now I want to get the legs attached to the bottom of this base. These will be cut from 2x4s, and they'll span the full length of each of our side assemblies on the inside. For me, that's 32 3/4 inch. I added glue to the 2x4 before screwing it in, and I made sure this gave a 3/4 inch reveal or floating effect. If you're gonna do a swivel base, you'll skip this step. And I know we just sat on it, but I'm sitting on it again because now it's at its final height. Super pro. I'm gonna pause on this build while I get the second chair assembled, and my goal is to make this a fast montage. Like, by the time I finish this sentence, hopefully we've got 2 chairs ready to move on to our next steps. Awesome. Our next step is gonna be backfilling all of our dowel holes where we've got recessed screws. But first, I wanna give a big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. Squarespace is your one-stop shop to build your own website or online store, and that's never been easier with Blueprint AI, Squarespace's next generation AI-enhanced website builder. All you've got to do is type out a little bit about your brand and the website you want to create, and then you get a personalized website template that's easy to edit and customize from there. On top of that, with Squarespace's enhanced search engine optimization, Squarespace does all the complicated back-end work to make sure you show up more often in search results. And with Squarespace invoices, you can get paid faster and impress clients with on-brand invoices. And streamline your workflow from proposals to contracts, invoices, and seamless online payments all in one place. And finally, with Squarespace email campaigns, you've got all the tools you need to engage your clients, promote your services, and build your business built in. So to learn more, make sure and follow my link down in the description. That's squarespace.com/modernbuilds, where you can get 10% off your first site, store, or domain through Squarespace when it's time to go live. Building your demo site is totally free, so check that out. No credit card required. So big thanks, Squarespace, and you all for watching. Now let's finish up. I'm just kidding. Let's finish up these chairs. This is a 3/8 inch dowel, and it is what we're using to backfill all of our recessed screw heads. After cutting a bunch of pieces to about a 1/2 inch long with my jigsaw, I added glue to each of my screw holes and then knocked these dowels in place. And I made sure that the grain was oriented up and down on every one of these dowel pins. It makes it look a lot more uniform and clean when you trim these flush. And to do this, I used what's called a flush trim saw. Go figure. We're gonna sand to clean up these boards next. The dowel pins are gonna start looking really sharp. I used 120 grit sand net sandpaper first, and then I came back with a wet rag to raise the grain of all of my wood with water before sanding with 180 grain. That's super smooth. Awesome. I'm using an outdoor wood finish. This is a water-based spar urethane, and it really brought out some nice color in this Douglas fir. And the best part about these cushions is they do not add to the total cost of this buy versus DIY, because they're extra cushions from the sofa builds last episode. And it's very comfortable. And even with our basic stationary base, we get a cool floating effect. And I totally think that this is a good look. And it's simple, so that's a huge bonus. But we're gonna level this up with a swivel base and match West Elm's $2,000 chair. Step one was removing the 2x4 feet that we had just attached. And honestly, I wish I didn't use glue, but I did not know you could get such a great deal on a swivel base on Amazon until I started building this project. The base will be attached to this 2x10 that I just cut that I'm putting pocket holes in. This is cut so that it spans the width of the inside of our chair perfectly. I recessed this board a little over 3/4 of an inch, and that gave me a 3/4 inch floating reveal, which was just enough room for the pivoting or reclining base to be able to rock back and forth without hitting the ground on the bottom. This swivel base cost me $50, and it's gonna add $500 in value. Let's check it out. First off, I'm gonna give big props to whoever designed the Telluride line at West Elm. It looks so cool from all directions, and that's awesome on a freestanding chair or sofa like what I've got. Having a swivel and rocking base is very cool, but even a stationary version of this chair would look pretty sweet. But let's face it, it's way more convenient being able to swivel around and see what's happening in the backyard. And might I say, we really elevated this construction pine to make it look way more custom. If someone like me or you were to build this, I'm curious what you could sell them for. Let me know what you think down below. And I know the part you're all curious about is the price breakdown. Well, let me remind you, the non-swivel West Elm Telluride chair was $1,500, and the chairs that swivel, are $2,000. But all in for the supplies on these chairs, I've spent somewhere close to $250, including our swivel base, which now makes the value of these chairs $4,000, as you can see by the West Elm listing. I appreciate you watching. Leave me a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And we'll see you on the next DIY versus buy, or just standard modern builds. Who knows? Bye, everybody.